the Bhagavad Gita. We're going to continue from where we left off, which is chapter 2. Chapter 2 is, in my opinion, the best chapter in the whole book. It literally is the Bhagavad Gita. Everything else is an extension of chapter 2. Sri Krishna lays the whole thing out for Arjuna. The only reason why the book is as long as it is because Arjuna's like, huh? What do you mean, man? Because, Sri Krishna is just very blunt here. He's just saying it how it is. We'll get into what that means and all that other stuff and go through the translations, all that great stuff. I'd like to preface first, before getting into the book proper, I am surprised that people are reading this Bhagavad Gita and they're not acknowledging that English translations are garbage. They simply suck. They do not capture the depth of Sanskrit. It just cannot. If you're not acknowledging the word for word translations from Sanskrit to English without the smoothening and the grammatical fixes and all that other stuff, you are missing so much information. Not only that, because it does not capture the scope, English does not capture the scope of Sanskrit, but it captures a portion of it. It means that you are deliberately subjected to ideological manipulation, depending on the book, depending on the author, depending on who cares if they're Advaitin, they're ISKCON, whatever organization that they belong to, they can mold the English translation so that it fits with their narrative and their ideological perspective. Understand the word for word translation. You don't need to know Sanskrit. You don't need to know it. You need a vague understanding and a accuracy within what you're saying to come to proper conclusions. There are some good examples like the word dharma. Dharma, big umbrella term, huge umbrella term. We now have like a better English translation that's pretty vague. It's called duty. Your duty in life is your dharma. But dharma covers what? Not only religious practices, but law, order, familial relationships, how to interact with your family, business transactions, ethical combat. All that falls within dharma. And yet English translations like this book is willing to just say it's just religion. They smuggle the whole word to this thing that is loaded in a different meaning and context in the world that we live in today. Another example, Varna and caste. This book directly translates Varna into the caste system, which is not true. Varna and caste are completely different things. Varna came first as part of a system of a correlative behavioral understanding of how societies work and to generally group individuals based on what they tend to like naturally. And caste system is completely inherited, not up to you, any individual. You're just born into it, all the other stuff. Completely different things, translated as the same in certain translations of the Bhagavad Gita. And these are things that you have to acknowledge and be careful of. For anyone that wants to share or teach, no amount of devotion should come at the expense of accuracy and precision. So, where we left off, Arjuna went off on his ramble and cast off his weapons and is in a pickle. He's in a depressed state. So, let's continue. Sanjaya said, Madhusudana spoke these words to him, who was thus overwhelmed with compassion and drowned in distress, and whose eyes were drenched in tears of despondency. The blessed Lord Sri Krishna said, Whence has this unmanly, heaven-barring, and shameful dejection come upon you at this juncture, O Arjuna? Damn! Yield not, O Partha, to feebleness. It does not befit you. Cast off this petty faint-heartedness. Wake up, O vanquisher of foes. Now, if Sri Krishna is anyone right now, he sounds like your best friend. This is how your best friend talks to you when you're like down in the dumps. When you're down in the dumps and like I don't know, you're rambling something like, oh, like I don't know, like I had a bad day at work. I don't know if I could work here anymore, or oh, this person they left me, my relationship, blah blah blah. You have one of your best friends, typically your guy friends, honestly, do this. They look at you, they give you that face. They're like, "What is wrong with you? Pick yourself up, man." And your best friends, you know how this works. They'll shoot you down, they'll shoot you back up. They'll shoot you down, shoot you back up. Hey, man, stop whining. What is this? Vanquisher of foes? My best friend? Come on. That's what I'm talking about right here. That's Sri Krishna. Sri Krishna as the best friend. You get it right here in this one line. But as a response, Arjuna says, "O slayer of Madhu, O slayer of foes, how shall I with arrows counterattack Bhishma and Jonah who are worthy of my worship? To eat the beggar's bread even is far better in this world than to slay these great souls who are my masters. But if I kill them, my enjoyment of wealth and desires in this world itself will be stained with blood. Whether we should conquer them or they conquer us, I do not know which would be better. These very sons of Dhritarashtra stand before us after slaying whom we should not care to live. My nature is weighed down with the taint of feeble mindedness. My understanding is confused as to duty. I entreat you, say definitively what is good for me. I am your disciple. Do instruct me who have taken refuge in you. Now, this is a huge turning point. This is the true spiritual inquiry. And this is why the Bhagavad Gita should not be taken in a vacuum. There is so much richness within the story of the Mahabharata itself. Notice Krishna has sort of a similar conversation with Duryodhana. He says, "You know this is adharma. You know this." He talks to him. He counsels him. He tries to avoid war. What does Duryodhana do that Arjuna does not do? Duryodhana asserts himself. He says, "I know and I do not care. I cannot help myself." What does Arjuna say? "I do not know what is best for me. Can you tell me what is best for me?" He asks God. He does not assert himself and claims that he knows what's best. Even the tirade in the beginning of the book, where he makes some formative logical sense, Arjuna still asks questions, as all great seekers should do, as all great people should do. They do not just assert themselves, they ask questions, even to the highest benevolence in front of them. They ask questions. And you will see this motif of Arjuna, this great quality within Arjuna throughout the book. I do not see any remedy to the grief that parches my senses, though I were to gain unrivaled and prosperous monarchy on earth, or even sovereignty over the celestials. Sanjaya said, after addressing the Lord of the senses, thus, Gudakesa, the terror to the foes, submitted to Govinda, "I shall not fight," and held silence. This is the emotional climax of Arjuna. I think everyone understands what it's like to be you can't do anything. You've asked for help, you've done that, and you even make a you even make a statement of submission. But we'll see that this statement of submission is just a reflection of a state that he wishes to cure. It's not a ultimatum. And we often do these things. We often say things that sound like ultimatums, but they're not ultimatums. We're just in the mode, in the moment. Sanjaya continues, commentating, O Bharata, then smiling as it were, Hrishikesha spoke the words to the desponding one placed between the two armies. Sri Krishna smiling. He's looking out into the distance, even with this man that's completely distraught. The blessed Lord Sri Krishna said, You grieve for those who should not be grieved for, yet you spell words of wisdom. The wise grieves neither for the living nor for the dead. Ooh. Uh-oh. Give Krishna some more words here. Nor I, nor you, nor any of these ruling princes was ever non-existent before, nor is it that we shall cease to be in the future. As the indweller in the body experiences childhood, youth, old age in the body, he also passes on to another body. The serene one is not affected thereby. Very quickly, we're getting into the logic of reincarnation. This is a book of Vedanta. This is a book that is conclusionary. Okay? This book also does not exist within a vacuum. So words like the wise grieves neither for the living nor for the dead, and some later lines here can sound very dispassionate, can sound very, there might be a hint of nihilism trying to encounter these words as raw as they are. Reading this book requires some level of a general understanding of the situation at hand and also the Mahabharata and Hinduism in general. He's describing reincarnation in a logical way, and we'll continue with that logic. The contacts of the senses with their objects create, O son of Kunti, feelings of heat and cold, of pain and pleasure. They come and go and are impermanent. Bear them patiently, O Bharata. That man, O the best of men, is fitted for immortality, whom these do not torment, who is balanced in pain and pleasure and steadfastness. The unreal has no existence, the real never ceases to be. The truth about both has been realized by the seers. That might be the impermanence of the world. Something that is impermanent is not of a priority. And the priority of all existence should be to find that which never runs out, that which is unlimited, that which is immortal. And in a world that is constantly being emptied, is constantly being drained away, your salvation is found in that which cannot perish. Know that to be verily indestructible, by which all this is pervaded, none can effect the destruction of the immutable. These bodies of the indweller, who is eternal, indestructible, and immeasurable, are said to have an end. Fight, therefore, O Bharata. He who holds Atma as slayer, and he who considers it as the slain, both of them are ignorant. It slays not, nor it is slain. The Atma is neither born nor does it die. Coming into being and ceasing to be do not take place in it. Unborn, eternal, constant, and ancient, it is not killed when the body is slain. He who cognizes the Atma as indestructible, eternal, unborn, and changeless, how can he slay, O Pata, or cause another to slay? Pretty another controversial line if just read by itself. The Bhagavad Gita is not a Bible. This is the impasse of the logic of reincarnation. This is the thing that eventually a seeker must come into some type of realization, some type of contention within their study of the nature of all of creation, that reincarnation implies this level of detachment from the actions of life and death. It is something that is difficult to truly obtain, but this is why just knowing something is not enough. Knowing reincarnation is not enough. To truly feel reincarnation as a living reality in every waking moment of every single day of every second, living in that space of knowing, regardless of what happens, nothing is ever lost. That's in a moment of enlightenment. And the true goal that we all strive for, not just knowing, but understanding in our hearts and souls, in our minds. As a man casts off worn out garments, puts on new ones, so the embodied, casting off worn out bodies, enters into others that are new. Describing reincarnation beautifully. Weapons do not cleave the Atma, fire burns it not, water wets it not, wind dries it not. The self is uncleavable, incombustible, and neither wetted nor dried. It is eternal, all pervading, stable, immovable, and everlasting. This Atma is said to be unmanifested, unthinkable, and immutable. Therefore, knowing it as such, you shall not grieve. Or if you conceive of Atma as given to constant births and deaths, even then, O mighty armed, you shall not sorrow. As a Hindu, we have no reason to grieve. We have no reason to be sad. To understand this truly, this Vedantic knowledge, is to know that death is not the end. And to follow in the light of Sri Krishna's words is to be fearless. The full understanding of reincarnation should result in fearlessness and never at the loss of compassion, which we will definitely get to. Death is certain of that which is born. Birth is certain of that which is dead. You should not therefore lament over the inevitable. This line reminds me of a SEAL team. There was a Delta Force operator. I forgot his name. Oh man, the Butcher of Baghdad or the Boogeyman of Baghdad, something like that. He said this exact same thing. Why would I let the inevitable ruin my day? One of the greatest Delta Force operators in the United States military said this, pretty much this line. And from warrior to warrior, I mean, that is the crux of living a life worth living, not being afraid of the inevitable, which is death. Beings are all, O Bharata, unmanifested in their origin, manifest in their mid state, and unmanifested again in the end. What is the point then for anguish? One beholds the self as wonderful, another mentions of it as marvelous, another again hears of it as strange, though hearing yet another knows it not at all. This, the indweller in the bodies of all, is ever invulnerable, O Bharata. Therefore, you should not grieve for any being. And what I said earlier is, it stands, it holds. Um, Sri Krishna is speaking on the ultimate conclusions of reincarnation, and we should respect that this is a logical foundation. To continue, chapter 2, line 31. Again, looking at your own duty as well, you should not waver, for there is nothing more welcome to a kshatriya than righteous war. Happy are the kshatriyas O Partha, who obtain such a warfare that comes unsought as an open gateway to heaven. But if you will not wage this righteous warfare, then forfeiting your own duty and honor, you will incur sin. Yes, he is talking about his purpose as a warrior, as a kshatriya. People will ever recount your infamy to the honored. Infamy is surely worse than death. The great chariot warriors will view you as one fled from the war of fear. You that were highly esteemed by them will be lightly held. Your enemies will also slander your strength and speak many unseemly words. What could be more painful for you? Slain you will gain heaven, victory you will enjoy the earth. Therefore rose up, O son of Kunti, resolved to fight. Treating alike pain and pleasure, gain and loss, victory and defeat, engage yourself in the battle. Thus you will incur no sin. Do your job, man. Regardless of anything that happens, doing your job is the best thing to do. Now, we can make certain parallels to other professions as well. We can imagine that Arjuna is a doctor in the middle of a battlefield. We could say that, a doctor is there, there's babies or young children that need to be operated on. There are 5 of them, and let's say you've already operated on 3 of them, and all 3 has failed. They've all died in your operation. Catastrophic injuries from some type of battle going on. You're the only doctor that is available for these 2 more patients that are arriving. These 2 other children that only have a chance if you operate on them as a doctor. Sri Krishna is saying that regardless of the emotional plight that you have, that is not an excuse to give up your duty, your job. You are still the best person there for it. You are assigned this task. This is what you're meant to do in the position that you're in right now. There is no quitting, there's no backing down, and there's a whole logic to why you shouldn't. The death and loss of those children should not affect your abilities right now to take care of the child coming next or the one in front of you. Do your job to the best of your ability, do it for the sake of doing it, and you will become a successful doctor, or at least you would try your best with whatever you have. And that is, in my opinion, truly what matters the most. The ideal of the self-knowledge and been presented to you. Hearken now to the practice thereof. Endow with it, O Partha. You will break through the bonds of karma. And I think we'll stop there. I think that is a great way to. I think that's a great place to stop, um, to digest part of chapter two's um, incredible synthesis of reincarnation, of the ultimate truth of the Atma, and the real conclusions that come from understanding and accepting these axioms. Uh, Krishna is not sparing any words. He's saying words that might seem, uh, you know, nihilistic or pretty bleak. You have no reason to grieve, all this other stuff. But in truth, it comes from a place of true, a true reality of compassion. It is not about life and death. It's something more than life and death. That there's something beyond just life and death. Life and death is a coming and going, like changing the clothes. That's not the most important thing. There's a cosmic order. There's something grander than even the comings and goings of human beings that are dying and coming back, but rather the actions that are happening in the life that is being taken place. It's still the case that Arjuna has to fight. It is still the case that he has a duty and a job. But that is not strained and predicated on, oh my God, I have only so much time left. I'm running out of time in life. Everybody's so worried nowadays that, oh, they're running out of time. They're not being the best person that they ought to be, because they feel like this existential dread of death. If you're a Hindu, you have no reason to have an existential um, problem with death. You are fearless in the face of the coming and going of life. You have an objective, you have a duty in life, you have dharma, you have the pursuit of uh, a prosperous life. And none of that is mired in something that, on the surface level of my waking experience, seems like the most pressing issue: my life and death. Completely set aside as something that is secondary to that which is your soul's journey, your soul's purpose, to make a difference in this world and to settle the karmas here and now in this life. This is the Hindu conceptualist, signing out.